How do we use the controller?
Two little white arrows, little triangles are the front and back.
Okay.
Did you know that the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that 1 in 8 people in the world suffer from hunger? That's nearly 900 million people.
We have the solution, and we're here to present to you today. Agriponics. A customized hydroponics agricultural solution for the world's hunger needs.
These systems can be planted in almost any environment in the world. They can be planted in developing countries, they can be planted in desert areas, in mountainous areas, even in first world countries that are small and don't have much agricultural space. They can fit almost anywhere.
And let's say you get done growing for the season, and then you decide that you need more food. It's very simple. All you have to do is plant more food. Since the agripods are environmentally controlled, you can grow year-round.
Basic information about agriponics are, it is a hydroponics-based system, and it's intended to entirely revolutionize agriculture of countries. It can multiply the amount of crops produced in 1 acre by 10, because there are 10 times the amount of space in 1 agripod.
And I had a comment earlier, somebody wanted to know what what hydroponics is. And essentially what it is you take regular plants, and instead of using soil or anything like that, you immerse all the nutrients that the plant can need in water and run the water directly over the roots to feed the plants. It's a very efficient process. You don't need dirt. In fact, for our system, all you need is sand.
As you see in our presentation, we serve more countries than you can count.
We have all kinds of countries around the world, even countries that aren't necessarily poor like Japan, but don't necessarily have as much space.
And agroponics has many unique properties. Despite the fact that it is a hydroponics-based system, there are many things that make it special. For example, instead of being like most hydroponic systems, which have holes in the top that the plants can go through and be exposed directly to sunlight, the agroponics has openings where you can pull down a side and go in and plant the crops. And once you plant the crops and close that side, they will grow completely free. Unlike other systems, you do not have to regulate them until it's ready to harvest them.
Yes, our whole system is controlled by computer, so like he said, once it's planted, you don't have to worry about it. Also, the entire system is self-contained, which means that the water that you put into the system gets recycled until you reopen it. And so, even though we do have a rather large water tank, we don't have to worry about it because it's all recycled. And like it says in the presentation, the nutrients come in a pre-boiled solution that you pour right into the water tank for simplicity's sake.
And also, the top and the whole entire agropod is semi-transparent, which means that unlike normal hydroponic systems, the crops will not get exposed to unwanted people or animals or things to get hamper their growth. They will still get sunlight because it's semi-transparent, but they'll be protected from outside influences.
And that also goes back to the self-recycling.
And more about agroponics is that it's very, very inexpensive for hydroponics-based products. And our product is going to be priced about the $2,000 to $2,500 price range. And the cost to make the products are about $1,000 to $1,500 per agropod. So we'll be making about $1,000 to $1,500 profit per agropod. And so that's very expensive though for the hydroponic systems, because we found one system that was similar to ours in space, but it was priced at $45,000. And other systems were priced at like $7,000 or $8,000 that were similar to space to ours.
And plus, these other systems that he was talking about, they are not as simple to use. You have to control it the whole time, monitor it, just like you would regular crops. This is very easy to just set it and forget it. These are wonderful sources.
Now, let's show what the actual system looks like.
I guess that's not what that was supposed to do.
Well, we have another file.
Oh, really? Okay.
We have a plethora of files. If you can hit the ones that's full assembly. So this is Agripod. Fully contained system is roughly 20 feet long by 20 feet wide by about 11 feet tall. It has support struts around the side for structural stability. On top, this large rectangle is our water tank. It's about a 1,500 gallon tank, which is, we calculate is about what we need to feed all the plants for what we need. Okay, so we have a second funnel. Yeah, that. And this is where all the growing happens, is a lattice of 2-inch diameter pipes with a slit cut at the top, so that when you can essentially place as many plants as you can fit in there. It's another advantage of ours. You are not defined by how many sections there are. It is literally as many as you can put in there that will fit and still grow correctly, you can put in there. That's our current logo. The working drawings. So just a quick rundown. Even though you saw that complex device earlier, it actually only uses about 13 parts. And they're very simple. Most of them are made out of PVC, which is very widely available, which helps with our cost. And everything can be assembled using simple tools.
Alright, and our plan for the social media marketing campaign for our Agriponics system is that we are going to have a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter account for our business, and we are going to advertise via those. We also are going to set up a website that we will advertise to people, and we will advertise our product. And our main target is actually going to be mission groups. You will then, they can volunteer on the website to actually build the Agripods once they've been shipped to a country. And our hope is that through our advertising efforts, that countries' governments will be able to figure out things about our product and be attracted to buy the products and rent them out to their citizens. Now, when the governments buy the systems, they will buy them at the original price we have already said that people can buy them from. And then the governments, when they rent them to their citizens, we actually have already made prices that we've recommended governments to sell their products to their citizens based on the per capita income of their citizens per year.
Yeah, so like you said, we have a recommended price that floats around, for poorer countries, it's 5% of the annual income of an average citizen. Once that becomes more than $10,000 per year, it changes to 3% of the annual income per pod. You can also buy them directly from the website if you choose to. And since we have mission groups that put them together, we're able to save a lot of money by not having to have people in the field trained to put these together.
And of course, if you're an ordinary person and you want to purchase an Agripod, you can do so also. You don't have to rent it out from a government. However, if the government buys the product and rents it out to you, you have to pay a different price than what you would normally.
If, of course, you're getting it from the government. Even if your government offers to rent them, you can still buy them direct from us.
All right, and so let's show the outlook of our website.
The Word document.
So this is a basic outlook of the opening stages of our website. As you can see, it has a brief description of our product. And then, as we scroll down, you'll see that it has more information, and it talks about why Agriponics is effective and why it's important. And here's some pictures of crops you can grow in Agriponics, including wheat and spinach, as you see here. You can also grow tomatoes and eggplants or anything that can fit inside, as we've already said. And then, as we scroll further down, the website will have, of course, buttons for governments or individuals to purchase a product, and then also here's a button for mission groups to volunteer. And this is the main things that our website will offer. There's some other more minor things, but this is mainly what our website would entail.
And one benefit that came up is, of course, he was talking about you can grow wheat in it. And of course, wheat essentially is energy, but it's not very nutrient rich. One of the things that our system really helps with is that since you can grow anything, you can grow very nutrient rich foods in places that otherwise the people are generally malnourished. Such as, lettuce, peas, all your fun greens, tomatoes, as he said. So essentially anything. So, do we have any questions? Mark?
How long would these last without wearing and tearing?
Well, they're made out of very durable plastic, mostly either ABS or PVC, which is very strong and very durable. We estimate that it could really last until something breaks. With normal care, it should be able to last for decades. Any other questions?
You had the list of all the countries, or are those the countries that you're going to send them to, or?
Those are countries that we see as being potential customers that would benefit from using these systems.
Like we've said, not all countries we target are, of course, third world countries. There are some, like Norway, Luxembourg, or Japan, that are first world countries, but they don't have as much agricultural land, so we think that this could help them as well.
In the case of, say, places like, say, Greenland, they don't have a land problem and they're not particularly poor, but it's freezing there. So, and since ours are environmentally controlled, you can grow it anywhere. We like to say pineapples at the North Pole and sweet peas at the equator. Any other questions? Corey?
Basically, your product is kind of like a big cube almost, and then you said that thin layer on top is the water tank,
Yes.
and then all the shelves are kind of used to plant the crops on the layers kind of.
Yes.
Is there anything on the ground, or is it all off the ground?
The whole thing sits on the ground. It doesn't need any special base or anything. And essentially, when you go to harvest, you just you take out one side and unlatch a few pipes, and then you just pull the whole thing out.
So
That's the
And
same.
it kind of just drags along the ground. It's all sealed at the bottom.
that's it, but it's just basically like a portable cube. Like you can move it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
how heavy is it? Do you have to assemble it yourself, or can you just? move
Yes,
it?
I think we've done our best. And I think everything in here is under 300 pounds. So a team of 5 guys could handle just about anything on here.
And of course, we said we're targeting mission groups to construct these, so it wouldn't take very many people to construct these. But since we're selling it to several countries, that's why we want mission groups to help us construct them. They volunteer to.
How big is it?
Well, it's about 20 feet by 20 feet and about 11 feet tall. The growing area inside is only about 10 feet tall because the top foot's taken up by our water tank. Or,
Did you say, is there anything that goes in the ground to hold it in, or is it just on the ground?
if you're in a place that's prone to monsoons or something, there's no reason you couldn't put something in the ground. Our design doesn't really have anything to go in the ground because we do like the mobility of it, but there's no reason you couldn't.
Because if you decided to put it in the ground, then you would of course have to provide a method for getting down there to open up the side. But if you kept it above ground, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. But you can still put it below ground, you just have to make sure you can get down there.
Yeah, I just mean if you're in an area that's prone to flash flood or something, I mean, you could make it so it could be in the ground and support it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
Like stakes in it to hold it?
Clark?
Like put stakes in it so it.
Oh, yeah. Anything that you can make it work. Eric?
How is it, you said semi-transparent, how is it semi-transparent if the water tank's on top of it?
The water tank is semi-transparent, and of course water is extremely transparent, so sunlight doesn't have much of a problem coming through. Corey?
What are the sides, man? Are they still the semi-transparent material, or are they solid?
I think we designed it to be made out of PET plastic, which I think is transparent. That's not definite. It's just anything that's strong and that's transparent, which a lot of plastics are like that.
Do you have to put it in a building that's environmentally controlled, or is it inside of the building?
We're currently working on a version where you could hook up a line, like a big duct pipe to it, and it would air condition it and heat it. Theoretically, you could hook it up to a building to take care of it. Graham?
What about root plants like potatoes or yams that grow on the ground? Can those be controlled with the nutrients?
One modification we plan on working on in the future is to have a larger diameter pipe, so you can grow things like that wouldn't fit in our little 2-inch pipe. This is mainly for plants that sprout above ground at the moment.
Well, they're like modified sizes. Like, can you get bigger or smaller sizes?
Well, this is our basic unit, and you can link essentially as many of them up as you want to. In the future, we will work on bigger models, and we're also open to modifying existing buildings to house this. Corey again.
So, would you have to be in like a flat area to use these, or could they, like, if you're like a mountainous region, would you be able to use these somehow?
You could still plant them in different types of terrain types. Mainly all you need is just to make sure that they can be set up correctly. And we estimate that you could still do that in mountainous terrain because like there's some areas that are more flat in those areas. You can put it there or you can put it below ground if you need to.
Now, we do recommend that the unit itself be level. So, but you can accomplish that by, flattening in a small area. It's not that difficult, as long as it's level. Anything else? Ma'am?
How could you partner with domestic mission groups? For instance, there's a group that functions out of Louisville, Kentucky that has international reach Shoes for Water. Because normal third world region, you're talking about walking 15 miles for water. How would you overcome that problem?
Well, we would recruit the missionary groups, of course, to volunteer on this. But once they were there to construct these agripods, then, of course, we talked about we have the water tank that can be used for the system's water, and it recycles the water so that you wouldn't necessarily need to get new water.
Yeah, you only have to make that trip one time, and we don't consider it any more difficult than if you had a field and getting water to the field for this pod. Yes, Corey?
What if you don't get volunteers to help you build your product?
We feel that we will be able to get volunteers, because one of the biggest issues you'll hear with mission groups is going to help
Hunger,
people
yeah.
plant crops and avoid hunger. So we think this will be adopted pretty well.
You just say if you don't get volunteers, nobody volunteers, how are you going to construct this? Are you going to hire people to build them for you, or?
Probably. That's how I'd go forward. Yes?
As you move forward on this, there are two things that will come up. One is the corruption in those governments, and so that's going to, people are going to ask you that when you're presenting as you build on this. So think about that as you move forward.
And there is no walking back and forth with jugs of water because the ladies that primarily do that for their family risk murder and rape every day they do that. So you want to maybe think about how to partner with a group that actually digs wells.
Yeah.
So you can have water right there.
And that one of those groups is Rotary International, and they've really hit. I've worked in Ghana, Africa, and one of the groups that's really big on water and this kind of thing is Rotary. So in addition to your mission works, you might look at Rotary International, which has really mobilized some groups. So that's just for future thinking as you look at making it solid.
The other thing domestically today, listening to NPR this morning, there are groups of American citizens working in the Valley in California right now, and they provide 1/4 of the world's produce. However, the groups that are actually harvesting for me and you to eat it don't have enough money to live on a healthy diet. How would you market to them? That's kind of what I'm thinking, because those folks, there's a diabetes and obesity because of having to buy low-cost nutrients just to sustain themselves. So you might think domestically how to grow that too.
Good job, Seth.